Okay. I had to. This is my second take. I forgot to record audio. Um, but I just basically want to go over uh, everything that's going on with the anniversary event and why I'm so disappointed. And just some background. I've been playing this game on and off since Christmas 2016. The first Winter Wonderland event. I took a break between I think mid 2023 to about now, like a month back, and I have a lot of memories with this game. I have a lot of experience with this game, um, uh, and I love the game. I love the community. I love the lore. I love everything about this game, um, which is why I'm so disappointed with what's happening right now. So let's just go from the top. So I come back to the game about a month ago. I I realized that the anniversary is coming up, and then whatever, what was it, like yesterday or whatever? I log into the game, expecting some big thing. I heard some things. Some people were cautiously optimistic, because not a lot of things had been announced. But I was like, there has to be something cool. So I log in, and what do I see? I see this. I already get a bit of a bit suspicious or whatever, or uh, because this um I don't know, this artwork, it's a nice artwork, I'm not gonna lie, but it doesn't even fit the screen. Like, this might be a nitpick, whatever, but we're already off to a terrible start, I would say. you know there's when in Overwatch 1 we would get the uh, artwork with all the heroes standing side by side, the classic artwork with all the heroes, and I don't know, it felt cool. It was classic. I don't know. This maybe has a bit more personality, but the fact that it's just an artwork and not like the 3D render that we had in Overwatch 1, I don't know. It feels a bit off. Um, so we read here, happy 10th anniversary, celebrate by completing event challenges to contribute to community milestones, unlock whatever. Anniversary loot boxes. I know that we had those back in Overwatch 1. Open event. Okay, I've already unlocked some now. We read here that we have to unlock unlock things, anniversary loot boxes, and they include dev and fan made rewards and celebratory skins. And I'm an Overwatch 1 player. I don't have super much experience with Overwatch 2. I was pretty on and off since Overwatch 2 came out. I wasn't super invested. Um, so I'm used to the cool anniversary, or cool event skins we get back in there. So there I see it here. There's a treasure skin. I click, and it's a legendary, but this is look like a legendary. This is, I don't know, this is weird. This is just like, this feels like the May Christmas skin. The red one with the Santa hat. It doesn't feel like there's any effort in this. And I can forgive the May one because it was literally the first Christmas event. I don't think we really had a barometer of what a legendary skin was supposed to be. But we're 10 years in now. This is not a legendary skin. And, you know, this is just the default thing, but like with a little bit of, rainbow color thing. And then we have the, different, purple and golds and stuff. And we have the same, on her leggings here. And then we have the purple and gold. But, it doesn't feel like this is the big event skin we're working towards. This is the event equivalent of the last battle pass skin. It's supposed to be big. It's supposed to be like a big deal. This is not a big deal. And then, like, I'm not even gonna pretend like I don't know anything about the anniversary loot boxes, because I already know. What is this? What are these skins? This looks like Overwatch League. These recolors, you know they're recolors of the Overwatch 2 models with which some of them I enjoy. The Genji one is I like, but then I don't like the diva hairpiece and whatever. I don't like the same with the whole look with Mercy, um, and you know Ryan as well. I don't know. He looks like weird and lumpy. Um, it's just the fact that their recolors and their recolors of arguably worse models is it's just a bad vibe. And the fact that their only skin rewards from the anniversary loot box is like insane. And some of these recolors aren't even good. Like this is like a split down the middle thing. It looks all right. But then we go to like the Zarya one, and it's not even split down the middle properly. Like what is this? There's just a big gray patch in the middle. There's some purple on the side, and this basically just looks like her default. Like the coloring here just looks like her default. It's weird. And then and I like the dev art. The dev art's nice. There's personality here, and that's the thing. There's no personality in these skins. This is completely devoid of anything personality wise, and that's the thing. That's a reoccurring theme here with the event. I'll continue to say that throughout this whole thing, that they are devoid of personality or uniqueness. But we'll go through here. This is cute. This is pretty all right. This is pretty all right. This is hazard things. That's cool. Uh, this is you see these are like callbacks to different years. Year 8, this was when the invasion PvE things came out. After they canceled the PvE, but whatever. And then year 3, and then we have the classic anniversary things. We have some a more like uh, community callbacks or whatever. The coin flip. We have and then these are my favorite things, which is like a telling that the sprays are the favorite thing of the event. These are cool. Like this is cute. This is cool. I like the art style. It looks like Nickelodeon, like cartoony. It's cool. Same thing here. Like it has a lot of personality. Like I like that they're a little bit like self-aware with the whole eyeliner thing. That their actual makeup and not just the art style. And also, I like the eye in the middle on the chest is very I don't know. I like that they have eyelashes. A lot of these things have a lot of personality. Of course, we're gonna have Fika because Fika's the new cute hero. Um, I like that. Like this. All these are very cute. You know, this very funny. I like that. And this is more of the cartoony style. This is probably a reference to something I'm not aware of. Here's more references to or callbacks to the history of Overwatch. Um, New heroes, you know, null sector, all these things um, are like they're callbacks. But the thing is that this is like the most interesting thing that this event has to give us. The skins are in this loot box are lackluster, and the player icons. I don't really care about player icons super much. I have my cool and classic Winter Wonderland 2016 one. Um, I don't know, but all these things that people usually wouldn't care about. They're the most interesting thing about this event, which is super telling and also super weird at the same time. Because the anniversary event, in Overwatch 1, it was, maybe not a big deal, but it was when the devs and the artists and everyone they got to flex their creative muscle a little bit because throughout the entire year there's clear themes. Halloween, you make Halloween skins, Christmas, Christmas skins, summer skins, so on. um but this was when you'd be able to flex a little bit. We had let me pull up an example. We had the the Sentai skin, the classic, Power Rangers. He's a Genji's a ninja, so it makes sense that he has it. It's a reference to popular culture while also having some uh, elements of who Genji is, with the green. We have this, fits her personality. She's very like free, outgoing, sort of uh, you know, um, I don't know, extroverted. I don't know. It fits her, very colorful skin, very colorful personality. Fits her pretty well. We don't talk about this one. Um, and it's just a shame that that we have just the ugly, ugly purple uh, recolors this year. Um, and this is just, I think this is a theme as well with the general state of cosmetics in Overwatch. Because so let's go to the shop. This is the first thing we see. Nothing here screams anniversary. This feels like this could have come out a month ago when I started the game, or came back to the game, and I, I like I wouldn't really have batted an eye. Like, this doesn't feel special. We get Zarya skin, which is rare. We get Domina skin, because she's new. And it's a very cool skin. Uh, and then we get these. I think the standout here obviously is the Ramacha one, and it's good, but the rabbit, bunny business, the maid Ramacha one, uh, and maybe these skins. I feel like these are really the skins that would have been, uh, you know, uh, in the classic Overwatch 1 anniversary events. They would have. These are the types of skins that would have come out. Flexing the creative muscle. You know, going a little bit outside of the box, um, and maybe fitting more, personality wise, or whatever, to the character. Like the Ramacha one, this this skin works because it's the antithesis of what his character is. You know, he arguably is like a harbinger of chaos in the Overwatch world. You know, he's the leader of an old sector, and him being like this calm, collected, you know, subservient cleaner, or maid, is just it works because it's the antithesis of who he is. Um, this doesn't work because there's no way you can make this about the characters. Even the dominant one, which is the standout skin. You know, maybe you could say something about like her being, you know, pampered or whatever. I don't know. There's probably something you come up with, but in reality, this is not like a tailored skin to dominant. It just feels more like a theme that was applied to her rather than a skin that was made for her, which is a theme maybe with a lot of the skins in Overwatch, in current day Overwatch. And I think what I'm most disappointed about, because I enjoy the skins. I'm a pretty casual player. So I enjoy, cosmetics. I enjoy, creating a look for my characters. It's a fun thing to do. But I also enjoy, the gameplay. I play a lot of quick play. Um, and my favorite thing about the events when I used to play back in the day was the cool game modes. I loved uh, Archive. Everyone loves Archive, obviously, but I also enjoyed Lucio Ball. And I like the all the Christmas game modes, and I like Junkenstein, and what do we get now? We get Overwatch Classic, which I played a little bit of. I haven't played this game mode before because it wasn't around in Overwatch 2 when I was playing. It was around when I got off. Um, and I played a little bit of it, and it's not very interesting. It's fun for maybe 3 games, but then it just becomes like a, I don't know, it becomes boring. And an event game modes aren't boring. They're not supposed to be boring, especially for the big 10-year anniversary. Because I came back this year because I heard a lot of talk about the game being good again. A lot of creators probably are, thinking maybe about playing Overwatch or coming back to Overwatch because it's getting a good reputation again. And I feel like this game could have been a slam, or this event could have been a slam dunk, because you bring back the classics, you bring back, not even just because, I don't know, you bring back the classics, you bring back, Junkenstein, even though it's around in the Halloween events. You bring back Junkenstein, you bring back the snowball fights and the Yeti hunts, you bring back um, Lucio Ball, and I feel like you know pe- archive missions are a big thing, are a big talking point, because they were very popular when they came out, and they haven't been released in years. It's been a while since archive missions, okay? And I don't know a lot about the development of games. I'm a chud. Um, but I feel like even if it would have taken a lot of effort and a lot of time to port the 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 archive missions into whatever engine we are currently using here, uh, I feel like it would have been worth the effort, because it's the 10-year freaking anniversary, okay? It's the big one. It's the one that brings back all the, old timers, all the YouTubers who, haven't played for years, switched over to different games. I'm thinking your Muselk who switched over to whatever, and and I feel like it's it would have been such a slam dunk to just bring back all the classics, walk us through, the years of Overwatch, all the different, things that we've gone through. Maybe, make a few jokes about how there wasn't really anything going on before the launch of Overwatch 2. You know, be a bit self-aware. People are gonna like that. But now, instead we get basically what is a pre-Overwatch 2 drop. This feels like, the dark age of Overwatch, where there's nothing going on. We get we get a bunch of recolors. We get a bunch of reused assets. We get a bunch of nothing. We get a bunch of things that have already been seen before, and we get a bunch of skins that aren't really that interesting. And it's really nothing. It really is like a nothing burger, because what I okay, let's talk about what I expected, and what I think a lot of people expected, because it's a big deal. This, 10 years, it's a big deal. So what would I have expected? I would have expected, maybe more new skins, maybe more tailored skins, like the old times. You know, we have, for example, like, this is not an anniversary skin, but I feel like it fits the example. This skin fits Sigma because it's called the Flying Dutchman. It's based off pirates and the sort of Flying Dutchman mythology, and maybe a bit of Pirates of the Caribbean. And it fits because he is, he's Dutch, and that's the joke. It's Flying Dutchman, and he literally is a Flying Dutchman. So that it feels like a skin that only really could have worked for Sigma, just because of the whole pun there. Um, so I would have wanted more of that. I would have wanted, some skin, some returning skins. I've been playing a lot of Venture since I came back, and I missed a lot of the cool skins that came out over the years. Um, and so I think that it would have been cool to see some returning skins from the shop. Maybe not battle pass, if they want to keep the quote unquote integrity of the battle pass. I don't, you know. But returning shop items would have been interesting. Recolors of previously existing, maybe maybe recolors of previously existing battle pass skins, so that people who paid for the battle pass previously can keep their street cred or whatever, and then the people who really like the skins can get the cool new recolor of the skin. And that I feel like that would have been interesting. And then obviously the loot boxes. Loot boxes were a big deal, or were like a big thing back in the day, and I feel like leaning really into them for this, not only would have probably satisfied a lot of the gripes people have with this event, and it would have harkened back to the old times. You know, Here right now, we have one, two, three, four, five. Yeah, we have five. We have five um, uh, anniversary loot boxes per week. So we have 15 total, and then we have uh, three legendaries, three purples, and then three normals. And considering the garbage that is the anniversary loot box, people only really care about the normals. The base, the purples, the golds, and the fact that we only get three of each. I don't know. It feels like a slap in the face. Um, and the fact that we only unlock these through community effort. I don't know. It feels it feels like a cop out. I don't know. Like you're not. I don't feel like you're gonna lose much by adding a bunch of the old, like, okay, imagine this: the anniversary loot box, instead of it being the slop fest that it is now, you can have a bunch of the old shop items that haven't been in the shop for a while. You can just put them all in a loot box, and then you sell that, or you have that in the challenge, instead of the recolors, or sorry, in the loot box, instead of the recolors. And then in the shop you can have all the cool new skins, instead of these whatever bundle slop. um you can have all the cool new skins, and you can have all the cool new recolors or whatever. And so it feels like so Blizzard still gets their microtransaction revenue or whatever. And and then and the anniversary loot boxes feel like a goal that's worth working towards, instead of it just being anything but. Uh, and and I think and I think and I think, okay, if I'm gonna sum up my feelings about this, I would say that I'm disappointed because I've been playing this game for a long time. I even have the original disc that I was gifted. Yes, disc. I was gifted a disc of this game when I was like 10 or whatever, and I still have it. And and I've been playing this game for all these years. And sorry, music is bothering me. Um, and so I've been playing this game for all these years. I took a break, for a few years, but still I played for most of the years since I got that disc. And I uh, it's had a great impact on me. You know, I It was a way for me to connect with my friends. It was a way for me to keep connected during the pandemic. It was a way for me to be inspired creatively. Um, and I just have a deep emotional connection to this game and to this universe. I remember I would stay up late watching all the I would I would watch the Overwatch movie compilations where they would just put all the cinematics into one long, like hour-long uh, YouTube video, and I would stay up and I would watch them, and I would think, oh my God, this is so awesome, and I can play this. This is a game that I can play. This is not just like a YouTube video. This is a game I can play, and I can feel like I can feel like I can feel like I'm in in these cinematics. And I would watch the origin stories, and I would get engrossed in the lore. I would read the comics. I would keep up, and and I feel like this is a slap in the face to me and everybody else who has been devoted to and has a deep emotional connection to this game. And it's it's just disrespectful. It's disrespectful because the community, we kept this game afloat during the dark ages of content drought, and we kept it going through, the PvE, being delayed and delayed and delayed and eventually canceled, and we kept going through the whole Blizzard controversy, the sexual assault scandals and everything. We kept going, we kept going, we kept going, and we have kept this game afloat. We and the devs and the community, the streamers, the esports players, and I feel like none of that was represented here. There's no love letter to the community except some sprays. There's no love letter to the lore. There's no love letter to the streamers. There's no love letter to the games except some sprays. There's nothing. There's no, not even like there's not anything. I don't feel like they care. That and I don't know whose choice it was to do to create this, to create this this event, or I don't even want to call it an event because it's barely an event. It's a few challenges and a few recolors, and that's it. And it's just it's just disappointing, and it's a slap in the face, and it's disrespectful, and and it doesn't feel like it's special in any way. I don't. It doesn't feel special. This feels like Overwatch Year 7, not Overwatch Year 10. This feels like one of the middle ones that I wouldn't care about. Oh, it's another Overwatch anniversary. I don't really care about this. That's how that's how I feel like they that's the thought process that they went through making this. It's just another it's just another one. We don't care about this. It's just another anniversary. We're gonna have another one next year. Like I don't I don't know. I don't know. It's just so weird. It's just weird, and and I don't know why they would make this. Why create this? Why have Overwatch Classic return when it's just when it's not really an anniversary thing? Why have all these weird loot boxes and recolors when no one really cares about them except maybe the Lucio one? Why have challenges that don't feel like a goal? Why why have a bundle that feels like it could have come out any other time of the year? Why why have a mythic that's just I don't know, that's the most bland thing ever be the face of this event? Like why these things? And they knew that that this was gonna that this was coming up. They knew that the 10th year anniversary was coming up, and maybe they didn't have the expectation of people still being around for this. But I feel like they must have known, right? Because Blizzard, it rarely makes games that aren't popular, you know? Like World of Warcraft has been here for like 20 plus years. Hearthstone has been around for like 10 plus years. StarCraft, I don't know. I don't even know when that came out. Like like Blizzard creates games that are classics, you know? And I feel like they must have known that this is a classic and that people would have come back if they made, you know, if they ran an all-star performance instead of this garbage. I feel like they must have known that people were gonna be excited for a good event. Like there was no hype either. Like the announcements for this came out like a few days ago. I didn't know anything about this event until a few days ago, and I thought that they were keeping things under wraps because they were gonna do something super special, and they wanted to have a big announcement, and then immediately have people be able to play it. But no, it was just another freaking Overwatch anniversary. It's just another year. It's just another slop bucket in the trough of slop. Slop time, guys. You know, and and it's just and also it's another thing. This is a tangent, really. But the survey skins, they're really interesting. You know, I think all of them show a lot of personality. They're not really tailored to the character as I would want them, but they're very interesting. I think a lot of them are. But the thing is that they rarely happen. I looked at a list of all the survey skins that have been, shown off, and then compared with all the survey skins that have actually come to the game. And it's shockingly few how many survey skins have actually come to the game compared to how many have been shown off and how many people have gotten excited for. Uh, and I feel like they could have just took some of the survey skins and maybe put them in here and blah 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 blah. You know, maybe it's more work than just doing, throwing some things together. But it's the 10th freaking anniversary, man. I feel like they could have put some effort into it. Just put some elbow grease into it. Do some overtime. You guys do that all the time. You guys do overtime all the time. You don't. You guys do crunch all the time. That's like a big. That's the thing you guys do. Just do it again. Just do it again, guys. You know. Sorry, I didn't mean that. You- you- I feel like people should have good work-life balance. Don't actually do crunch. Okay, that's a bad thing. But they probably they had all year. They had all year since freaking the 9th year anniversary. I don't even know what they did for last year, but they had all year. They could have spent all year. They could have had a whole new team of freaking creatives to go come in and say like, oh freaking you're doing this guys instead of and maybe slow down on the bundles and slow down on the battle pass skins or whatever. But no, no, we just get slop. It's slop time, guys. Sorry. But I don't know. I don't think that's. I think that's. Those are my thoughts. Um. Yeah. Bye.